Good morning, everybody. What's going on? It is Big Dave, and it is today's installment of 100 Hug Stories for the last 100 days of 2023. And for today's Hug Story, we're going back to 2008, and actually, this story takes place in multiple states, but we're going to start off in Mohawk, Tennessee. And that was where I met John Cooper. And I met John Cooper outside of a convenience store while I was waiting out the rain I was on my second bicycle trip across North America, where I bicycled from San Diego to Philadelphia and was stopping once a week and volunteering a day to, volunteer at some charities. And so John walked right up to me and he said, "Hey, big fella," he said, "I hear you got quite the story." And apparently the people inside the convenience store had told him my story, and he just came out and he started talking to me for a while. We talked about life and this and that and the other. And then after a little while, he said, "Hey, man, I know where you're biking." He said, "Why don't you stop by my airfield? It's right on your way, man. You can't miss it." And so I'm always up for meeting new people. So I obliged him, and I bicycled to his place, and I had my Obama for President stickered bicycle, and I biked up until I saw his McCain for President stickered truck, and I sat my bike on his truck, and I walked on in the hangar. And just as soon as I entered into the hangar, the heavy rain began to fall, and John just looked at me and he says, "Man, it looks like you made it just in time." And it was cool because the raindrops just provided this perfect backdrop of noise for a further conversation about my life and his experiences and his love of flying and vintage aircraft. And he toured me around showed me some of his old planes and stuff like that. And the more we spoke, the more John felt like an old friend. And John must have felt comfortable too, because after about 45 minutes, he said that he wanted to introduce me to his parents. And the thing about this is that John was about 70, so I was like, "Oh, how old are your parents, dude?" That's what I'm thinking. But I didn't say anything, and I just said, "Okay." And so John took a step from the hangar into the heavy rain, and he sort of shielded his eyes from the rain, and he just spoke, and he said, "Mom, Dad, I want you to meet a pretty cool fella." And he just went on to say, about meeting me and how nice I was and this, that, and the other. And initially, I didn't get up to see what he was doing or who he was talking to. But the more he spoke, the more I became interested in just like who he was talking to. And I stepped out from the hangar's cover to look out, and I was gazing toward where he was staring, and that was towards a farmhouse. And I assumed that these what looked like two nearby headstones were his parents. And in being introduced, quote unquote, introduced to his parents during this tender moment made me want to stay and talk to John a little bit more, man. But it was just because it was just so good. It was so kind to get that kind of meeting, introduction. But nightfall was approaching and I had to go. So I hugged John and I said, "Look, man, I got to go." And he said, "Good luck out there." And so as I was putting on my rain gear and getting ready to leave, he said, "Man, listen, man, I got to tell you, I was waiting for the rain to stop because you've had a bike's eye view of the world, and I wanted to take you up in one of my planes and give you a bird's eye view of things, man." And I was like, "All right, another time, my friend." And so I biked on. And 3 days later, I was now in the southwest corner of Virginia, and it was still biking, and it was still raining. I mean, it was raining. And, when it rains, a lot of times I just look forward to it. It's kind of because I can just sort of just concentrate and just hunker down and just pedal on. And I was on this long stretch of road when there was a pickup truck that came right directly beside me. And I pulled over to the shoulder as much as I could, but I couldn't move over too far because the roadside was washed out. And then I gave this truck on my left a glance because I was wondering why this guy wasn't moving, especially with no traffic in either direction. And then in an instant, so much happened. I saw an arm come out of the car and something was in this guy's hand, and there was a single burst of gunfire that went up in the air, and all of a sudden it was like this haunting cackle came from the truck of this haunting laughter. And then all of a sudden the truck screeched its tires and pulled pulled away, and I stopped my bike, and I just panicked, and I couldn't see much through my wet and foggy glasses, and I grabbed my phone, but I had no service, and I was frightened, and I was angry, and I biked for a few more minutes, and still no service, and I tried to bike again, but now, because I had stepped in some mud, my pedals were caked with mud, my shoes were caked with mud, and I kept slipping out of the pedals, and I was really starting to panic a little bit, because I thought that maybe the truck was coming around and somebody was going to actually take a shot at me, not just in the air. But eventually I gathered myself, and by the time I stopped, I was just totally frustrated, totally scared, and I just was like, what the hell is happening? Why is this happening? And never in my life and in my travels around the planet up to that point had I ever had anything like this happen, and I never felt more alone. And so when I got to my hotel later on that night, I called my mom to inform her what happened, and I declared that, hey, listen, I was done. I said, no one cares anymore. I said, who was I kidding? I asked my mom, who was I kidding? To think that I was doing anything of value to change the world, that I was doing anything for humanity. And I was just wasted my time, energy, and money. And I told my mom, I proclaimed, I said, I'm out. I'm officially out of the human philanthropy business. And my mom let me rant, and when I stated that I was abandoning my mission and grabbing a bus to Philadelphia instead of biking, my mom's voice changed, and she told me to relax, just calm down. Because she's not used to me quitting on things. And she said, relax, rethink this in the morning. You don't quit things. And I was like, whatever, woman, I'm quitting. And I started looking at bus schedules. And again, I went to bed scared, angry. I just felt vulnerable. And I felt like the world gave me no choice but to quit. And then I shut my phone off, and that was it. And I figured I'd get up in the morning whenever, and I would just go grab a bus home. But that next morning, I got up, and I got a voicemail. And it was an unfamiliar but friendly voice that said, hey, buddy, this is John Cooper, the guy with the airfield. I know that you're a man on a mission, doing good things with the schedule, but I also know it's raining, and it's going to keep raining. So if you need me to pick you up and take wherever you want to go so you can stay on schedule and do the good things that you're doing, well, hell, I'll do it. Like I said, this is John Cooper, and I just want to let you know that I'm out here, and I just want to know that you're safe. Take care, buddy. And I can't tell you what that call meant to me. I can't tell you how that call not only just strengthened my resolve for the day, but just restored my faith in humanity. That call meant the world to me. And it was funny because when I called my mom and she said, all right, what time is your bus coming into Philly? And I just yelled on the phone, I'm back in business, baby. I said, I'm back in the humanitarian business. And I biked on. And, I think that I love this story for so many reasons. But I love it really because you never know what your words and your offer of encouragement can do for others. So if you're out there and you see somebody down and doubting, offer them a hand, offer them your support, offer them a voicemail, do what you can, because you have no idea how you're helping humanity. And John Cooper really, John W. Cooper, born May 22nd, 1942, and died February 14th, 2011. He truly is one of my life's angels and truly restored my faith in humanity. And that's it. And that's just a simple story from my life. I hope the story made you smile. I hope it makes you think. I hope it encourages you to go out and just hug somebody and share your love. All right, everybody, that's today's story. And come back tomorrow. I'll talk to you. Be well.